There's something powerful about beating the sun to the day. While the world still sleeps, the morning grants you a secret doorway to greatness. The early morning isn't just a time slot. It's a mindset. It's a commitment. It's you telling the universe, I'm serious about my life. Now, waking up early doesn't mean setting an alarm for pain. It means setting an intention for progress. You get quiet time to think. Time to move, time to read, time to plan. Before the chaos of the day begins, you get to win in peace. In the early morning, distractions are few, and clarity is high. It's not about waking up early for the sake of discipline. It's about using the morning to build something no one else can give you: self-respect. The early risers aren't always the loudest in the room, but they're the ones who already won battles before most people picked up their phones. They aren't necessarily gifted or lucky. They're just awake, and more importantly, they're awake on purpose. You see, the morning doesn't reward you for just showing up, it rewards you for showing up prepared. It's the perfect time to journal your intentions, review your goals, visualize your next move, exercise your body and your mind. Most people wake up reacting, but the ones who rise early rise with reason. And over time, that reason creates results. You want change, wake up and earn it. You want growth, wake up and feed it. You want peace, wake up before the noise begins. Every morning is a vote for the kind of person you want to become. So don't just wake up to survive the day, wake up to shape it. Because if you can win the morning, you can win the day. And if you win enough mornings, you'll build a life others only dream about. Waking up early is not punishment, it's preparation. It's not about suffering, it's about strategy. There's a quiet kind of power in rising before the rest of the world. No noise, no rush, just you, your breath, your thoughts, and the raw beginning of a brand new day. When you wake up early, you give yourself something most people never have: margin, room to breathe, time to think, space to choose the direction of your day instead of being pulled by it. See, the late riser is often playing catch-up, rushing, scrambling, reacting, but the early riser, they're leading, they're directing, they're building from the ground up, not trying to patch things mid-flight. You don't wake up early to prove anything to others. You do it to prove something to yourself, that you can choose discipline over delay, that you can act with intention instead of impulse. You're not punishing yourself by rising before dawn, you're positioning yourself. Positioning yourself for clarity, for focus, for strength. While others are still chasing rest, you're already chasing purpose. And here's the truth: you don't need to wake up at 4 a.m. to become successful. But you do need to wake up with a plan, with purpose, with the mindset that this asterisk morning is a chance to get it right, a chance to step into your next level. When you rise early, you build momentum before distractions arrive. Before texts, emails, noise, opinions, you've already won. You've already read the book, hit the workout, set the goals, calmed your mind. That's not punishment. That's power. That's progress. And that's peace, the kind that comes from knowing you are in control. The world will always demand your attention. But when you wake up early, you get the first hour to yourself. You get to own your mind before the world tries to rent it. Success is rarely about doing more things. It's about doing the right things at the right time, and few times are as right as early morning, quiet, clear, and undistracted. There's strategy in silence. There's strength in stillness. There's something sacred about starting while others are sleeping. That's the edge, that's the advantage. Not magic, just consistency. Not talent, just commitment. Not luck, just leverage. You're not losing sleep, you're gaining time. You're not giving up comfort, you're claiming control. And control is where transformation begins. So if you've been telling yourself waking up early is too hard, ask yourself, this is staying stuck any easier? Is drifting through the day with no plan more comfortable? Because the discomfort of discipline will always cost less than the pain of regret. Waking up early isn't about suffering, it's about strategy. It's a blueprint for building momentum, and momentum over time builds a life worth living. The early morning is quiet, undistracted, and full of clarity. It's a sacred time where thoughts are sharp and focus is pure. Before the world wakes up, there's a calmness that wraps around everything. The air feels different. The silence speaks louder. And your mind, it's not yet crowded with opinions, notifications, or noise. In that stillness, you can hear what really matters. Not what the world wants from you, but what you want for yourself. Not what's urgent, but what's important. That's the gift of morning. It doesn't rush you. It doesn't scream at you. It invites you to slow down, so you can speed up later with direction. Most people never experience it. They wake up in the noise. They roll over into distraction. They scroll before they think, and in doing so, they trade clarity for confusion. They never give their mind the chance to breathe before the day begins. But the early riser, they understand something different. They don't just rise with the sun, they rise with intention. They use the quiet to build alignment with their goals, alignment with their values, alignment with their vision, because when your mind is clear, your actions become precise. You stop spinning in circles. You start walking straight lines toward purpose. The early morning doesn't give you more hours, it gives you better hours. Time multiplied by quality. Time untouched by distractions. Time where your mind is a blank canvas, not a messy chalkboard. That's when the best ideas show up. That's when you remember what matters. That's when you can face yourself without filters, without noise, without pressure. It's where you review the vision, where you plan your moves, where you win the inner game before the outer world even starts playing. There's a reason the greats protect their mornings. It's not just a habit, it's a ritual. A rhythm, a sanctuary, no one's calling, no one's demanding. It's just you and your decision to waste it, or to use it, to drift or to direct, to numb out or to tune in. Because once the world wakes up, it gets loud. Fast, unpredictable, but if you've grounded yourself in the silence, the noise won't shake you. If you've clarified your thoughts in the quiet, confusion won't derail you. If you've focused your energy at the start, chaos won't scatter you. That's what the early morning is, not just another time of day. It's a launch pad, a filter, a sharpening stone for the rest of your hours. When you treat it like it matters, your life begins to reflect that same order. When you give those first moments your full presence, the rest of the day respects your momentum. The clarity you gain in the morning becomes the compass you carry through every challenge. That's why the early morning is sacred. Because it's yours before the world tries to take it from you. Discipline in the morning reflects respect for your life. You honor your potential when you rise with intention. Every time you choose discipline over delay, you're sending a message not just to the world, but to yourself. The message is clear. My life matters. My time matters. My goals matter. The morning is your first decision of the day, and how you handle that decision sets the tone for everything that follows. You either start with purpose or start in panic. You either choose to act or wait for life to act on you. There's a reason discipline feels hard, because it's not the easy choice, but it's the respected one. And when you make that choice first thing in the morning, you build a foundation for the rest of your day. The world may not notice your discipline at 5 a.m., but you do. You feel it, you wear it, you carry it into your meetings, your workouts, your dreams, your relationships. Rising with discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about being committed. It's about recognizing that your future is shaped in small moments, and few are smaller or more powerful than the choice to rise when it would be easier to stay in bed. Anyone can make excuses in the morning. Anyone can snooze the alarm. Anyone can say, "I'll start tomorrow." But discipline whispers, "No, we start today." Not because we feel like it, but because we've decided we're worth it. And that's what discipline really is: self-respect in action. It's treating your time as valuable. It's treating your mind as sacred. It's treating your goals like they matter before the day tries to convince you otherwise. Rising with intention isn't just about waking up early. It's about waking up asterisk aware. Asterisk aware of your mission, aware of your standards, aware of the fact that success doesn't just arrive, it's invited through consistency. You honor your potential when you take those early hours seriously, when you choose structure over scattered energy, when you choose movement over stagnation, when you choose action over delay. It's not about doing everything in the morning. It's about doing the asterisk right asterisk things, a few focused minutes of reading, a simple workout, a quiet reflection, a review of your goals. It doesn't have to be complicated, it just has to be consistent, because what you do consistently creates your identity. And if you want to become the kind of person who lives with clarity, confidence, and power, it starts when no one's watching. It starts when the bed is warm and the will is weak. It starts with one disciplined decision. You don't have to feel ready. You don't have to feel motivated. You just have to respect yourself enough to begin. That's the truth about discipline. It's not about control. It's about care. It's about caring enough about your future to show up for it today. Right now, in this hour, in this moment. Discipline in the morning is your way of saying, I value my life enough to lead it, not just live it. And that's a decision worth repeating every single day. Early risers win private battles before the world even starts. Victory begins in silence, not on display, before the noise, before the traffic, before the messages and the meetings and the pressure of the outside world. There's a window of time that belongs only to you. And what you do in that time, what you fight for in that silence, shapes everything the world will eventually see. Most people think success is public, the speeches, the awards, the applause, but the real success. It's quiet, it happens in the shadows, it happens when no one's clapping. Waking up early isn't just about getting ahead, it's about going within. It's about facing yourself before the world can distract you from who you really are. Because that alarm clock doesn't just wake up your body, it wakes up your commitment. It wakes up your inner warrior. The early hours are where you confront the things you've been avoiding, the excuses, the fear, the laziness, the doubt. And if you can win that fight in the morning, the fight against your own comfort, your own limits, then everything else becomes easier. No one will see you winning that battle. No one will celebrate your decision to rise, to read, to train, to pray, to prepare. But that's exactly why it's powerful, because it's not for them. It's for you, and those quiet wins, they stack up. They build something inside of you, something strong, something solid, something unshakable. The early riser doesn't need an audience, because they know the most important victories happen when the stands are empty. You don't build confidence by being seen. You build it by doing the work no one sees. You don't become disciplined in front of a crowd. You become disciplined when it's just you, and the choice to get better or stay the same. That's the battle. That's where champions are made, in the early hours, when it's easier to sleep than rise, when it's easier to scroll than study, when it's easier to put it off than push forward. But every time you choose growth over comfort, you earn a victory no one can take from you. You start the day on your terms, you move with purpose, you carry quiet confidence, because you already did what needed to be done. No one had to see it, no one had to cheer. You were there, you showed up, you delivered. That's what separates the average from the great. Not talent, not opportunity, but the willingness to fight battles no one sees, and still give it everything you've got. The early morning isn't glamorous. It's not flashy, but it's where the real work happens. And that work, that hidden, disciplined, consistent work, it turns into strength. It turns into results. It turns into a life that doesn't just look good. It asterisk feels asterisk good, because you know where it came from. You know what it cost. You know who you had to become to earn it. And it all started, in silence, before the world even opened its eyes. The morning sets the tone for the rest of your day. A focused start creates a focused finish. Before the world pulls you in 100 directions, before the noise, the calls, the demands, there's a moment that belongs entirely to you. And how you use that moment, that morning, determines the rhythm of everything that follows. If you start rushed, you move rushed. If you start scattered, your mind stays scattered. But when you begin with clarity, with stillness, with purpose, you carry that energy forward. The first hour of your day is like the first brushstroke on a canvas. It doesn't just mark the beginning, it sets the mood. It influences the colors, the shape, the direction. Most people don't realize how fragile momentum is in the morning. You don't wake up into focus. You create it. You don't stumble into peace. You choose it. The way you treat the morning is the way you treat yourself. If you begin with intention, you're telling yourself asterisk, my life deserves structure. My goals deserve attention. My mind deserves clarity. Asterisk, it's easy to underestimate the impact of a morning routine, but those small acts, journaling, exercising, meditating, reading, they anchor you. They create stability when the day gets unpredictable. A calm, focused morning is like a compass. It doesn't prevent storms, but it keeps you from getting lost in them. When you move with direction early, you make better decisions later. You respond instead of react. You choose instead of chase. That's the hidden power of a focused start. It's not just about productivity. It's about alignment. It's about reminding yourself what matters before the world tries to convince you otherwise. When your first thoughts are your own, you're no longer a prisoner to distraction. You're the architect of your day. You're not surviving it, you're steering it. Too many people treat the morning like a leftover, an afterthought, but the morning is the foundation. And if you build the foundation with care, the rest of the structure holds strong. Even 5 intentional minutes can create a ripple. 5 minutes of deep breath. 5 minutes of gratitude. 5 minutes of visualizing what success looks like, not someday, today. Because when your day begins with focus, it tends to stay that way. You feel sharper. You speak clearer. You work with more energy because you already took time to center yourself. It's not about being perfect. It's not about rigid habits or robotic discipline. It's about owning your beginning so you can own your end. A focused start doesn't guarantee a perfect day, but it gives you the mindset to handle whatever the day brings. You don't have to control everything. You just have to control your start. Because a focused morning isn't just a habit, it's a message. A message to yourself that says, asterisk, I'm not waiting for life to happen. I'm leading it, one morning at a time. Asterisk, morning routines build self-trust. You prove to yourself that your goals matter. Every time you wake up and follow through with what you said you'd do, you're casting a vote for the person you want to become. It's not about perfection. It's about showing up, even when you're tired. Even when it's inconvenient, even when no one else is watching. Self-trust isn't built through motivation. It's built through repetition, through small, quiet commitments kept day after day. And the morning is the most powerful place to start. When you stick to a morning routine, you send a signal to your mind, asterisk, I can count on me. Asterisk, asterisk, I follow through. Asterisk, asterisk, what I set matters. Asterisk, most people think routines are restrictive, but the truth is routines create freedom. Freedom from chaos, freedom from indecision, freedom from wasted time and energy. Because when your morning is locked in, you don't spend the rest of your day trying to recover from a sloppy start. You're clear. You're grounded. You're already ahead. Morning routines aren't about doing everything. They're about doing the right things, the things that align with your goals, the things that feed your mind, body, and spirit. And when you choose those things early, before the world can interfere, you gain power, power that comes not from control, but from consistency, The moment you wake up and act on what you said you'd do, you create internal respect. You strengthen the bond between intention and action. That bond, that's what builds belief. Belief in your ability to grow. Belief that you're capable of change. Belief that you are no longer stuck. Every time you make your bed, read a page, go for a walk, write your goals, or sit in silence, you're investing in your identity. You're shaping who you are when no one's looking, and that's what matters most. Because confidence isn't built on achievements alone. It's built on promises kept, especially the ones you make to yourself. The greatest damage happens when you say you'll do something and don't. You start to doubt, you start to drift, you stop believing that change is even possible. But you can reverse that with one morning, one action, one choice to rise and follow through. That's the beauty of a morning routine. It's not just a habit, it's a foundation. A reminder that you're not at the mercy of your emotions. You're in charge. You've got a plan. And you have what it takes to carry it out. Your morning becomes your mirror. Reflecting discipline, reflecting progress, reflecting self-respect. You don't need to overhaul your life in one day. You just need to do what you said you'd do today. And when tomorrow comes, you do it again. Not for perfection, not for applause, but because your future is worth the effort. And because every step forward earns something more valuable than praise, it earns your trust. Morning routines build self-trust. Because they prove one thing again and again, your goals matter, and so do you. Most people react to the day, early risers create it. The difference lies in choosing purpose over autopilot. There's a pattern you see in everyday life. People waking up just in time to rush, rushing through breakfast, rushing out the door, rushing into obligations they never planned, never prioritized, never questioned. They open their eyes and immediately hand their day over to urgency, to other people's expectations, to the digital noise and the demands of the world. And by the time they stop to breathe, the day is already gone. That's reaction. That's living on autopilot. And autopilot doesn't take you anywhere new. It just repeats the same loop over and over. But early risers, they live differently. They don't wait for the day to happen to them. They step into the day with intention, with structure, with direction. They're not faster than everyone. They're just earlier. Earlier to think. Earlier to decide. Earlier to set the tone instead of letting the tone be set for them. That's the real advantage, not time, but asterisk control. Asterisk not just being awake, but being asterisk aware. Asterisk when you choose to rise early, you make space for clarity. You plan instead of panic. You reflect instead of react. You move with purpose instead of being moved by pressure. There's a power in starting the day by asking, what matters most, instead of, what do I have to do next? That one question shifts everything. It moves you from survival to strategy. Autopilot is easy. It costs nothing today, but over time, it costs you everything: your goals, your growth, your peace. Purpose takes effort, but that effort compounds. It multiplies results over weeks, months, years. Creating your day doesn't require hours of planning. Sometimes it's just 5 quiet minutes, writing down a goal, setting an intention, taking a breath before the storm. That's how early risers gain momentum, not by doing more, but by doing what asterisk matters asterisk most. They decide who they want to be before the world tells them what to do. And because they start with intention, they carry that energy with them. You can feel the difference between someone who's chasing their day and someone who's leading it. One feels scattered, the other feels centered, and it all starts with a choice, not a grand moment. Not a major breakthrough, just a quiet decision to stop living on default and start living on design. It's not about being perfect every morning. It's about refusing to let the day own you, because when you lead your morning, you lead your life. And the earlier you claim that power, the more of it you have. So ask yourself, are you reacting, or are you creating? Are you running, or are you leading? Are you awake, or just moving? Every morning gives you a new chance to break the cycle, to rise not just out of bed, but into purpose, not just into a routine, but into a life with meaning. Most people stay on autopilot, but you don't have to. You can choose presence. You can choose purpose. And that one choice changes everything. You don't need more time, you need better mornings. Growth begins by investing in the start of your day. It's easy to blame time, to say there's not enough of it, to believe that if you just had an extra hour, or maybe two, everything would finally come together. But time is not the problem. Your relationship with it is, and that relationship is defined by how you begin your day. Mornings aren't just the beginning of your schedule, they're the beginning of your mindset. They shape the way you think, the way you feel, the way you move through everything that follows. And the truth is, most people waste their mornings without even knowing it. They roll out of bed, scroll through distractions, react to noise, and enter the day half awake. Not physically, mentally, and that mental fog bleeds into their performance, their energy, their progress. You don't need more hours, you need more clarity, you need more direction, you need more intention in the first 30 minutes you're awake, because those first 30 minutes, they can either build you or break you. They can fuel momentum or drain it. That's where growth begins, not in grand gestures, not in overnight transformation, but in a simple decision to own your mornings. When you start the day with discipline, when you start the day with gratitude, with movement, with planning, with stillness, you build a foundation that supports everything else. A better morning doesn't require perfection. It just requires presence. Even 5 minutes of conscious focus can change your entire trajectory. You could use those minutes to breathe, to write, to reflect, to exercise, to align your actions with your goals. And when you do, you begin to take back control. You stop rushing. You stop drifting. You stop being at the mercy of everything outside of you, because growth doesn't just happen by chance, it happens by choice. And that choice begins when you open your eyes and decide today, I'm not wasting it. You have enough time. But do you have enough commitment to use that time wisely? That's the question. That's the mirror you face every morning. Some people live their lives reacting to each day like it's a burden, but others, they greet the morning like it's an opportunity, an invitation to grow, to shift, to rise. You don't need a perfect routine to begin. You just need the courage to begin, to say no to the snooze button, no to mindless scrolling, no to chaos first thing, and say yes to discipline, yes to purpose, yes to peace, because when you win the morning, you give yourself a chance to win the day. And when you win enough days, you build the life you once thought was out of reach. You don't need more time, you just need to stop giving your best energy to your worst habits. Shift that, own that. And everything begins to change. Growth doesn't wait for the perfect moment. It starts the moment you stop waiting, and the best place to begin is your morning. Each morning is a new vote for your future. Small wins compound into massive change. When you wake up, you're not just starting a day. You're casting a vote, not with words, but with actions. A vote for who you want to become. A vote for the life you want to build. A vote for the values you say matter to you. You don't have to change everything overnight. You just have to wake up and make one small decision in alignment with your future. Read one page, move your body. Plan your priorities, speak something true over your life. That's a win, and that win, though small, carries weight. Because one win leads to the next, and the next, and the next. That's how momentum is created, not from giant leaps, but from consistent steps. And those consistent steps begin with how you choose to start your day. Each morning offers you a clean slate, a reset button, a new opportunity to build or to break, to lead or to follow, to create or to consume. You might not be able to control everything that happens in your day, but you can control how it starts. You can control the first 10 minutes, the first thought, the first action. And those small beginnings hold incredible power. People often wait for big moments to create big change, but the truth is, The biggest transformations come from the smallest decisions repeated over time. That workout you almost skipped, that's a vote for health. That journal entry filled with honest thoughts, that's a vote for clarity. That moment you sat still and breathed instead of rushing, that's a vote for peace. You're always voting, every morning, every action, every choice, and your life becomes the sum of those votes, not in a single moment, but over time. You won't always see the results right away. That's why so many people give up too early. They think the small win doesn't matter because it doesn't feel like progress. But change doesn't shout, it whispers, and those whispers echo over time. Imagine stacking bricks every day, one by one. At first, it looks like nothing, but eventually, you step back and realize you built something real. Something strong, something that can't be knocked down with a bad mood or a rough week. That's the power of your mornings. They aren't just routines, they're building blocks. They're silent promises kept to your future self. Each time you choose discipline over delay, purpose over autopilot, presence over distraction, you're saying my future matters. And that belief, repeated daily, becomes who you are. You don't need to win the whole year today. You just need to win the morning, and then do it again tomorrow. Stack enough small wins, and one day, you'll wake up and realize the life you're living is the result of every quiet victory you chose when it would have been easier to quit. Each morning is a chance, a vote, a new page in the story only you can write, and it starts with a simple decision to show up for your future today. Win enough mornings and you'll change your life. The morning is not magic, it's a multiplier of effort. It doesn't take luck. It doesn't take genius. It just takes consistency. One good morning followed by another, and another, until those mornings start shaping your identity. The morning isn't about inspiration, it's about alignment. It's where you align your actions with your vision, where you align your focus with your values, where you align your energy with your purpose. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present. You don't need to do everything. You just need to do what matters most early and without excuse, because that first hour isn't just a routine. It's a message to yourself. It says, I'm not waiting for the day to control me, I'm taking control first. Most people underestimate the compound power of a strong morning, but it builds day by day. Quietly, almost invisibly, then one day you look back and realize you're not who you used to be. You're sharper, stronger, calmer, more focused. Why? Because you chose to win the morning when it was easier to sleep in. You chose to move when others were still stuck in comfort. You chose to plan instead of react. You didn't change your life in one day. You changed it by showing up when no one was watching, by doing the work before the world asked for it. That's the multiplier effect. You do the work early, and the rest of your day becomes lighter, clearer, more productive. The decisions you make in the morning ripple into everything else. They influence how you show up, how you think, how you speak, how you handle pressure. That's why winning the morning matters. Not because it makes the day easy, but because it makes you stronger before the day even begins. The morning doesn't give you more time. It gives you better time, time with fewer distractions, time with higher focus, time when your energy is untouched by noise, and what you do with that time is your advantage, it's your edge, it's your head start. You're not racing against others, you're racing against who you were yesterday, and the morning gives you the chance to pull ahead one decision at a time. The morning doesn't care how you feel, it rewards action. It rewards consistency. It rewards those who show up without needing applause. So don't chase a perfect morning. Chase a powerful one rooted in intention, one driven by growth, one that honors your goals instead of delaying them. Win enough of those mornings, and your habits begin to change. Your thinking evolves, your discipline strengthens, and your results follow. Because the morning isn't magic. It's what you do in that time that creates the magic. It multiplies your focus, it multiplies your clarity, it multiplies your ability to stay on course when things get tough. One good morning won't change everything, but 100 will, a year of them will. And it all starts with showing up today, not for perfection, not for anyone else, but for the life you said you wanted. So if you're waiting for a breakthrough, stop looking for it in the big moments. Start building it in the small ones, the early ones, because the life you want isn't found in a single day of effort. It's found in the days you choose to begin with purpose, win the morning, win the day. And when you win enough days, you don't just change your schedule, you change * your story. * it all starts with one choice. * rise with intention, or repeat the past. * you already know what to do. Now it's time to do it tomorrow morning.